Welcome back everybody. Today we're gonna play Chamber on Sunset. Today is day 118 of playing every agent on every map. Today's agent Chamber is one of the best agents if you wanna play an AWP. Chamber is really strong if you play an AWP because you can TP out of almost any situation and this TP is almost instant. It makes it pretty easy to get out of a lot of really dangerous situations, and also his headhunter is almost made for an AWP. You can shoot with the AWP and then instantly switch to the headhunter and shoot again. It is way stronger than almost any other combo in the game, so if you want to play a Chamber, I recommend you are pretty good with an AWP. If you don't want to use the AWP, I don't really think you should play a Chamber, just play a Jet or somebody else instead. Starting off with A-side defense. On A-side defense, I recommend you put a Chamber trip all the way here in mid, on this side. Because like that you can basically play almost wherever on A-side, especially on the right side here aggressively, and have a really good spot. You can then use your TP either up here, behind these boxes, close here, just somewhere over here, so you are able to play aggressively on a main. You can then get into this close corner right here, which is an insanely good off angle, get a kill, maybe even get two, and then TP out. Most of the times this is pretty safe, and you are able to get out of a main pretty easily. The other option is to place a TP here close, and then decide to play aggressively, and peek into the people in a main, like this. This also allows you to walk even further, out here. Out here you're not in the TP range anymore, but after you go over here you will be in the TP range again, and then you can see over towards mid and have a really good spot. You can then even go into tiles and still be able to be in your TP range and fight the people that are in mid. So with this Chamber setup you can play pretty aggressively all over the A side. Other than that, you can just also decide to hold main from over here, especially if you have your ult or an AWP. Just hold the people right here, wait for them to come in, shoot, TP out, go back, even pick up your TP again, hold them here, shoot, get out, here, and so on. Other spots to play as a Chamber are on top of these boxes. I've shown you that one before already. You can also play on top of these boxes over here, use a TP to get up, and then recall your TP and place it on top of the other side to be able to TP out. You can also place it behind here, but on the other side is also pretty well. You can then go for a fight on the people that are coming out of elbow or that are coming out of sight, and then TP out. Other than that, you can also play on top of these boxes towards the default site. You can then recall the TP and then place it back towards the CT area. It is kind of a risky TP to have there. It works if you have a smoke towards CT. Other than that, it is really risky and I don't really recommend doing it. But sometimes you can get a pretty good fight on the enemies from this off angle right here. And this is especially good on eco runs where you can just use your headhunter, wait for the enemies to come out, and then shoot them and TP out. This TP is really risky though, so I do not recommend it all of the times. Other than that, if you want to play towards mid, you can use a TP setup like this one. Put it up here and then jump over towards this direction on top of this ledge. Most people don't really know about this ledge. You can then decide to hold the people that are coming through tiles if you are hiding behind this big spot here in the middle, or you can decide to go all the way out and hold the people that are trying to come out of mid from bottom mid and have a really good off angle on them from a spot they don't really expect. And then you can TP out if you don't feel safe anymore. For traps, if you want to play mid, I recommend a trap either towards A, like this, so you have information over anyone coming out of A main, or I recommend the other trip that is over towards garage, right here, to get information over anyone walking into garage, and you yourself are playing top mid. Even if you have to TP out, you still will be able to know if somebody is in the garage area. Talking about garage is also a pretty good spot for a TP. You can use one either like this. This one is kind of risky. I recommend you have a trip for main like that. But it also allows you to hold mid pretty effectively because it allows you to go out of mid. If you close the door, go out of mid, go over towards these boxes right here, and then hold the enemies that are coming in. And then as soon as the enemies know you are here, they're using some util or they're trying to fight you, you can get a kill and then TP out. And then you are on top of this box right here and have a really good off angle on the people that are trying to come in towards the garage area. This is also pretty good if the enemies are coming towards B. So if you have the information anyone is coming B, you are in mid, your teammate on B needs help, you can just TP out and then you are on top of this and can hold the people that are trying to come in towards main. Over the smoke. Talking about B, if you want to play B, you can also use a trip right here in towards garage to get the information over garage, and then use ATP either here in this close corner and decide to go all the way aggressively towards the orb right here. hold the enemies that are trying to come in from this off angle, even get the orb if you have the information nobody's here, and then TP back. And in general, just play pretty aggressively on on B main to get information over the enemies. You can also decide to go all the way up here. You're still in the TP range, and if somebody is trying to push you from mid, you can just TP out like that. The other thing that is also possible is to use a TP all the way here. This TP allows you to go even further in towards main. If you think, yeah, they're not coming towards B, you can just use a TP like this. Even go out of main and then get into this corner here as well. So you're still in the TP range, and if the enemies are deciding, yeah, we're not gonna go A, we're gonna go mid to B, you have a pretty strong off angle on the people that are coming towards B. Other than that, you can also play B towards backside. You can use a teleporter right here, and then play in a lot of different angles. For example, close here on this pixel peak. You can even decide to go out, wait for the enemies to come in, walk into it again, swing the enemies, and then TP out towards backside. You are pretty safe like that. Or you can even use a TP over here, which allows you to play all the way in this close corner right here, wait for the enemies to come in, shoot them in the back, and then TP out. What you have to worry about this TP, however, is that it is kind of risky to get away from, because you are stuck in this corner. You don't have a second TP to get out, so you have to have a plan on how to get out, or you have to have a way to dodge all of the util that is coming towards you if you TP over towards this side. Now over to the ult. The ult is one of the strongest things in Chamber's kit. She shoots pretty fast, and most of the times you're going to be able to get a lot of kills with it. It is worth playing pretty aggressively with a Chamber ult, so jumping out, shooting and then TPing out, or just going for a swing. Even trying to pre-fire people if you know where somebody is a pretty strong thing on a Chamber ult, and it also makes it pretty hard for the enemies to get out. Most of the times when you have a Chamber ult, I recommend you play over towards mid or towards B main. Not really that much towards A, it also works on A, but most of the times in mid you're gonna get more value out of it, and in B main in general it is a pretty cramped space, so you have an easier time killing the people there. Now switching over towards attack. On attack you can use a trip right here to get information over anyone trying to flank you from A, so it is a pretty simple trip, just place it right here and you get the information over almost anyone trying to flank you. Then you can either use a TP over towards this corner right here to play aggressive on A main, or you can even save your TP and go place it somewhere around here. If you want to use this TP, I recommend you go over towards this side, and then you go fight the people that are playing aggressive here in mid and on A main, and you can then TP out if you don't feel safe anymore. If you don't use that TP, you can use your TP later, let your duelists clear out the space in front of you, and then you can use a TP either towards this side, making you able to play aggressive on elbow and towards backside. You can always TP out, which is a pretty good thing, especially if you are on a side that the enemies are trying to retake. Other than that, you can also use a TP over towards this spot right here on top of these boxes. This is a pretty common one-way spot, and it is also a pretty safe TP. You can play pretty aggressively over towards A main and fight the enemies that are trying to come in from right here. Then you can TP out and fight the enemies from up here, which is a pretty strong off angle. Other than that, you can also go towards side with a TP like that, and most of the times you're just gonna play over towards the side, try to get a kill, maybe even two, and TP out, and then go for a refight. If you want to go mid, I recommend you ask your team what they are planning to do, so which side they are trying to hit. So if they are trying to go for a B hit, I recommend you place your trip over towards A. You yourself are in mid, so you have information over anyone trying to flank them over towards B. So using a trip like that gives you all of the map information you can have. You can then place a TP over towards in this corner, or even over towards in this corner, but this corner isn't really the safest corner, especially because it is open for market. But with a TP right there, you can play pretty aggressively in mid, peek out, fight the enemies that are playing in mid, hide behind these boxes, play pretty aggressively around these boxes, also go pretty far up all the way towards this corner, which is a pretty strong off angle on the enemies that are trying to come in towards mid from A, and in general is a pretty strong spot to play as a chamber. Other than that, you can also use a TP back here and peek out from right here, hold from a lot of different angles, for example here, here, or even over towards the other side, which is a pretty strong off angle, which most of the enemies are not really expecting. If your team is trying to go A, you can use a trip towards B, over towards this corner. It doesn't really matter, just as long as you get the information over anyone trying to play aggressive here on B main. And then you can use a TP in this corner, Also, in this corner, I decide to play aggressive on mid this way. In general, it is a pretty strong thing, but you have to kind of worry about the enemies having an ult. If you are trying to go B, you can use a trip right here. This trip gives you an earlier information. It also allows you to take more space. You can then walk all the way up with your team. I don't really recommend you use your TP in any other spot. And you can then use it either here, or you can decide to use it on top, here on the ticket box. Both are pretty strong spots. They allow you to take almost the same amount of space. You can get all the way to here, even inside of the smoke, and peek towards the market area and fight the enemies that are coming in right there. You can then TP out, and you are on top of these boxes. Even if there is a smoke in main, you can still fight over the smoke, fight the people that are trying to come out of backside, and in general, it is a pretty strong spot to be in. Other than that, using your ult on attack is a pretty easy thing. Most of the times you just wait for the enemies to play aggressive somewhere, so you either decide to hold mid. Mid is probably the strongest spot for a chamber ult. Even if you peek into somebody, you are gonna be able to kill them pretty easily and have an easy fight on them. Or you can decide to just hold A with the op, or decide to hold something after your team has taken the space. Just in general, holding is a pretty good thing with the chamber ult, and can be used almost every round when you have one. If I had to give Chamber a rating from S to F, I'd actually give him the A tier. He isn't really the best sentinel to play on this map, but he is still pretty good at keeping map control, being able to TP out of really dangerous spots, and is insanely good at playing aggressive on defense. You can also play him aggressive on attack. He isn't that good on attack as an aggressive agent, but he is still pretty good to lurk on and has a pretty good spot in the game right now on a map like Sunset. That would be it from me. If you want to see any other agents on any other maps, write them down in the comments. And if you want to see anything else Valorant related, write it down there as well. And as always, don't forget to like and sub, and come say hi to me on Twitch, where I stream almost daily. Have a great rest of your day, and see you guys very soon. Bye!